Mission Impossible Fallout. I hadn't seen a Mission Impossible in a long time. I saw the first one when it came out, and I liked it. I remember it being a really big deal when that movie came out. I think it was just all the old people. Maybe my dad watched it when he was younger, but I just remember it was a pretty big deal that Mission Impossible was a thing again. And it was new, and cool, and different. And I didn't see the second one. I just remember all the advertisements and Tom Cruise climbing on rocks with long hair. And I get, like, is it in the trailer he, like, throws his sunglasses and they explode or something? Like, that's supposed to be his hidden message. Glad they went back to, like, the books. I saw the third one. That movie's kind of boring. And I hadn't seen another Mission Impossible since. So Mission Impossible Fallout comes out, and now everyone, it's like the Fast and the Furious movies, where at first they were just like, oh, those are good movies, those are fine. And so I was like, these are the best action movies of all time. So, like, the past several Mission Impossibles have gotten really great reviews and have done really well. So I thought I'd check this one out. And it was fun. It was your. It was funny. I don't know if it was intentionally funny. It was full of action. The spy stuff. There wasn't as much cool spy stuff as I would have liked. And the basic plot is I'll just start, just basically give you the beginning of it, and that's it, because any further really gets into huge spoilers. But Ethan Hunt and his team of Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames, who's starting to look like a giant meatball. Like, no offense to Ving Rhames, because he's still like a giant person who could crush me. But now he's becoming a giant person who can crush me by rolling over me because he's getting really weirdly round. But they're on a mission to find some stolen plutonium nuclear cores or something that people will use to make atomic bombs. And they're on this mission to get those things, and those things are basically out in the wind. And the whole premise of the movie is get the nuclear bombs so that nuclear bombs don't explode and kill everyone. So why was it good? The story of it, very standard. Get the nuclear bombs, fight the bad guys, do spy stuff, pretend to be spies, and trick people, and also deal with bureaucracy in the various organizations that are all seemingly working against each other. I think they work for the MEF, Mission Impossible Force, Impossible Missions, IMF, Impossible Missions Force, and they team up with the CIA, headed by Angela Bassett and her top guy, Superman. Superman with a stash. So Superman with a stash does a really good job in this movie. I really like him. I think he's a pretty good actor. Tom Cruise does a really good job in this movie. Simon Pegg does a really good job in this movie. Ving Rhames does a really good job in this movie. This movie was a really good job. It was really... That's basically what it was. It was just super competent. The effects and stunts. I kept hearing about all the praise that the previous ones were getting, and the first one had good stunts and some good cool effects and stuff. Third one, I cannot remember at all. That's how boring it was to me. I remember he was at a party at the beginning, and Greg Gutenberg or Greg Guten or Greg Gunthries or the guy who was in Heroes and could read minds was in it. That's what I remember about that movie. That and they maybe go to the Vatican and run through some Vatican streets or Rome or something. All the performances, good job. I don't know the name of the guy who played the villain, who I guess was also a villain in a previous Mission Impossible. He's like the super terrorist, and I'm not gonna remember any of the names, like just straight up. So bearded terrorist. I'm interested to see what that guy does in other things because I liked him. I've probably seen him in other things, and I just don't remember because he didn't have a beard and wasn't handcuffed the whole time. They use Mission Impossible team. I feel like they have to. It seemed like it popped up quite a bit, and every time it did, I was okay with it. I don't remember the other Mission Impossible movies having any sort of like character arcs. But this one might have, like, because Ethan Hunt, he's like, that's the only name I'm going to remember. Tom Cruise, he and his short legs run through this whole movie trying to prevent bad things from happening. And it's about his fear of failing. And it talks about his previous relationships. It goes back to Mission Impossible 3 again, which I do remember at that dinner party with the Greg Grunberg, that he had a wife in that movie. And so they go back to like, hey, remember Ethan Hunt when you had a wife? And there's some flashbacks with the actress who played her in the third movie, so that was cool. I think her name's Michelle Monaghan, maybe. She's a really good and true detective. So yeah, he's afraid of failing, and he's also afraid of sacrificing one life for many. Standard action, typical fare. I don't even want to say it's standard because it was a little more than standard, but nothing really jumped out at me as far like there's a cool helicopter chase scene. There was a skydiving scene, and I bet that was all like legitimate. Like Tom Cruise probably actually jumped out of a plane and did this stuff, but it didn't. That stuff you've seen in Point Break, and it's been done other movies. Even if I don't know how the effects were done in those movies, but just in terms of the movie, it looked as good in that movie as it did in this movie. Someone could argue with me, and I don't care, but that's just how I feel about it. And then Tom Cruise is just this movie is 90% Tom Cruise sprinting, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like there's a scene where he's sprinting to chase after this guy who's walking away, and they're like, "You're gaining on him. You're gaining on him." And then like the guy's just briskly walking away, and Tom Cruise is sprinting at full speed. And then they're like, "Oh no, he's getting away," and the guy's just still briskly walking as Tom Cruise is running across building tops. And yeah. It has a couple good twists and turns, a couple tense moments where you don't know what's going to happen, a couple shocks and surprises where maybe a fake out here or there. Like, I mean, it's Mission Impossible movie, like in the earlier ones, like, hey, I'm so and so, and rubber mask. I really like that aspect of these movies, the rubber mask, because of how ridiculous it is and how they keep going back to it. And it's like, they've been doing it since the 60s show or whatever. It's like, that's what they do. Rubber masks. Hey, look, I'm you. These masks are perfect. No. It's just a really hard movie. It's just a really hard movie to talk about without really getting into the spoilers, because at its heart, it is your summer blockbuster film that you will likely enjoy. You'll get some good action out of it. You'll get a good performance by Tom Cruise, who in real life is a crazy person. Like, no joke. He's left-handed. In all these action movies, he plays a right-handed person. He learns how to do things with his non-dominant hand to do things in movies. And like, you can say whatever you want about all his other stuff, him jumping on couches, the Scientology thing, all that's all kind of crazy. It's crazier to me that he's left-handed and he plays right-handed people exclusively. Like, he might be one of the best actors ever in regard to that. I recommend that you go see the movie. In fact, I want to go see the ones I miss now. At least the fourth and fifth one, because this is the sixth one. It's weird how these movies, like franchises that like started in the 90s and stuff, just keep getting more and more installments and getting more popular. Like, who would think that we're on Mission Impossible 6 when, like, in 2007 we were only on Mission Impossible 3, and that was even kind of a surprise. And then the fact that they're still making those Fast and Furious movies again, which I've seen scenes in later ones, and I know that they get a lot of good like, I need to watch those. I should watch all of them.